so going back to our agenda now, we should go to our next session. We are a little bit behind early in schedule, so we've got some minutes. So if you've got questions for our speakers, especially considering that we have thank you to our speakers again, received the presentation of 3 projects that are already ended and that can bring tools and outcomes available for further development and further projects. So in case you have questions, please raise your hand and you can take the floor. If not, we can move to our next session. So I will leave a couple of 10 seconds if there are hands raised. Anyone would like to have a curiosity answered? No, it doesn't seem so. So let's move forward. Let's then enter the second session of our meeting, which is focused on federated services and datasets. Lessons learned from the iSpaces Federation. Let me briefly say that the point of federated services is something that anyway is relevant also as inspiration for the HPC, National Competence Centers, because there's the idea to develop federated services also at the level of the EuroCC network. So the experience that EU Apps for Data and BDVA will bring today will of course be not only useful in terms of contents and results achieved in terms of federated services and datasets, but also in terms of how to put together federated services on our side as well. So I'm very interested to hear from our speakers in our next session, and I will leave the floor to Daniel Alonso again for the in-depth on the iSpaces Federation. So Daniel, when you're ready, you can start.
Thank you, Luisa. So I am back with my presentation. Again, I guess you can see my screen perfect. So thanks a lot for giving me the floor. Well, I would say that I will present more questions than answers. In my case, I will leave the lesson learned and answers to my colleagues of the project, Yunus, Guillermo, Andrea later on. But let me just introduce at least the iSpaces, the Federation of iSpaces, the steps that we have done towards the creation of this federation, the main challenges that we are encountering, and more or less how we are trying to address those challenges at this time of the project. Okay, so just starting with the concept, the iSpaces concept was coined by BDVA some years ago in 2014. It was included in the first version of the SRIA, the Strategic and Research Innovation Agenda of the BDVA, again in 2014. And the purpose of this concept is and this instrument iSpaces was considered by BDVA as a key instrument to foster data-driven innovation in Europe and to bring closer this innovation from European level to the regional ecosystems and to make it available by the small actors in the different, again, local and regional ecosystems. So basically what an iSpace is providing to small actors is an experimentation environment where those small actors can have their data-driven solutions exploited, tested, and checked before going to the market. So as you can see, the concept of iSpaces was quite similar at the beginning to a data-driven innovation hub. So the term of DIH was also coined by the Commission more or less at that time. So it seems that the need of SMEs and small actors to experiment with those innovations were also identified by BDVA and the Commission more or less at the same time. So yes, After that, the BDBA put in place a process every year to identify relevant initiatives in Europe and to be recognized as iSpaces. As I presented before this slide, the first call for iSpaces was launched in 2016, and 5 iSpaces were recognized at that time. From 2016, the group has been increasing over the different years. As you can see, again, every year we launch an open call to recognize initiatives that can be considered as iSpaces. And as a result of this collaboration, as I already presented before, in 2018, the 10 iSpaces started to work together in a proposal to the Horizon 2020 call DTICT05, Data-Driven Innovation Hubs. This proposal was submitted in 2019 and it was approved by the Commission. But of course, the project started in 2020, and now we are more or less at the midterm of the project. Actually, we'll have our midterm review next month. So yes, at the same time, the group of iSpaces keeps growing. So we have tried to keep aligned, on the one hand, the project with the partners and the hubs and new hubs, but also the iSpaces that were recognized in the subsequent years. The final objective is to all of us to collaborate together and to be aligned with the new instruments that the Commission is putting in place in the program. You know, the network of EDIs, the new data spaces, the testing and experimentation facilities, and other initiatives, and work together to this new landscape in Europe. So let me take advantage of this call also to say again, to emphasize that the call for iSpaces is open to any initiative in Europe. It is an open process that we launch every year, and of course we will be launching this the call for these years around well before summer, around spring. So I encourage, if you are interested in be part of this group, be part of the iSpaces, and to help us to build this federation, to stay tuned and to submit your proposal once the call is open. Okay, so this is the process that we follow. We launch the open call. We publish a questionnaire that has to be completed. Based on this information, we perform the review, also including external reviewers, and we submit to the board of directors of BDBA our proposal to be approved, or yes, to be approved. Based on that, we announce the result to the new iSpaces, and we invite the new iSpaces to a ceremony that usually is carried out as part of the European Big Data Value Forum, that this year will be most likely be organized in Prague, in the Czech Republic, at the end of the year. So again, this is the process. If you are interested, stay tuned and to submit your application. If you have any doubt in the meantime, feel free to contact BDBA or myself. Okay. This is the picture of this year. It was already presented by Anna, but we have to say that we are really proud of this ecosystem that we have achieved. We have in total 36 hubs as part of this group, covering 35 regions in 21 countries. Most of those hubs are also participating in the project You Have for Data. Not all of them, because we don't have funding for all of them, but all the hubs are participating in other activities that we are carrying out right now, again, towards the creation of this federation. Okay, so this is the picture of what we are now around about iSpaces and hubs. As you can see, both the hub, the iSpaces group, and the project are very much aligned. So going back to the federation, I have to say, and again, this is a picture that you used at the beginning of the project regarding challenges and value. We have addressing challenges and we are creating value. As you can imagine, in a project like ours, there are many challenges, because we are addressing several perspectives on the creation of the federation. Interoperability, and again, some of those challenges will be addressed later on by my colleagues, but the first one, interoperability. In the project, we are using IDSA connectors, but of course, we are considering other options if they are needed from other hubs, other platforms, other networks. Data governance, it was also addressed in previous presentation, but in our case, it's also very important because we are creating this Federated Catalogue. Sustainability of the federation for us is a very important aspect, because once the project is over, our idea is this federation of iSpaces will outlast the project with a sustainable evolution, ethics, legal, IT governance, data privacy and protection, that has been addressed by the previous project also. And here in our project, we have dedicated tasks to data protection, service delivery, business, security, and exploitation. Of course, the main to overcome those challenges, the main aspect is to provide value to the hubs in our the project, the group, and the federation. So of course, we are sharing knowledge, and this is something that we have done from the very beginning. Once the group was created, the first step was to share knowledge, to share our experiences and best practices, and also to identify synergies. In the project, we are going one step further, with the real connection and collaboration, improvement of our service offer based on the services provided by other hubs in our group. Also, we are increasing the value to our local ecosystems. Again, based on this collaboration, we have increasing the outreach to other SMEs in the European landscape, give visibility and positioning and learning. So again, this is a very general picture. We don't have time to go into detail of each of these aspects, but I just wanted to emphasize those ones. Okay, going to the one of the main assets of the project, which is the Federated Catalogue, and again, it will be explained later on by my colleagues. So far, we have created 3 types of catalog. So we have the catalog of datasets, services, and courses, and all the hubs, the 30 hubs that I presented before, are contributing to this catalog. So the idea is to bring together all the assets of all our hubs and bring this common catalog that at this time in the project, the main purpose is to provide to the SMEs applicants to our open call for experiments with the whole catalog that they can use for their application. Of course, the final purpose of this catalog is to provide our local ecosystem with a more with an improved offer. And in this case, we are working not only in bringing together all those assets, but also in building a local delivery that each of the hubs will put in place based on their own needs, on their own requirement and specificities. So from the global catalog, we are moving to the local service delivery based on this global catalog, but personalized in this case to the local needs of each of the hubs. So this is why we are our theme, our main motto for the project is global catalog, local offer. So this is what we are doing with this Federated Catalog. We are already putting in place this service delivery in the case of because we are running in the project 3 rounds of experiments. We are selecting experiments through 3 open calls, and with those experiments, we are fostering collaboration between the hubs of the project. Here, this is the picture of the first 10 experiments that we selected in the first open call. The experiments are almost done, and we have to say that we are really happy because one of the main reasons, objectives for these experiments is again to foster the collaboration among the hubs and to foster this common joint delivery. And you can see here the different combination of services that between the hubs of the project we have to put together to deliver the services to the SMEs that were part of the experiments. So again, this is not only a theory, this is something that we are already implementing, this common service delivery. So moving towards a real combination of services from our Federated Catalog. Also, one important aspect that we are addressing in the project is the exploitation and sustainability of the Federation. This is something that we are working to, we have two dedicated tasks in the project led by CARSA, a consulting company in our ecosystem. We are identifying all the potential key exploitable results that we have in the project. And also the main exploitable result, the main exploitable asset is the Federated Catalog. We have identified many of them, and based on that, we are planning the sustainability of the federation of ISPs and of hubs. Here you can see more or less the model that we are following. We are also collaborating with other and learning also from other initiatives, and it might be the case also in this case that we can also share from what EuroCC and CASIL are doing with in the network. But again, we are also learning from other projects, other initiatives, how they are addressing this exploitation and sustainability for the future. And just this is my last slide. I wanted to finish my presentation with this vision that we have now. We are now implementing. This is ongoing work. So this is something that we in the project we are still working on that, because we are thinking of how giving value to other projects and to other initiatives already running in Europe. So how to leverage our own catalog to include and to be enriched with assets coming from other initiatives. Still, this figure is quite simple. Of course, the reality is much more complicated. But again, this is something that we are thinking of, how to use our catalog, to leverage our catalog, to enrich our catalog with assets coming from other initiatives, and how we can use all those assets to give value, to give services to the final stakeholders and final users of the Federation of iSpaces. And this is something that we can also exploit with some of the projects that are already presented, but also with ARCC and the projects under the HPC environment. Okay. And this is all from my side. Again, I know that I have more questions than answers and just a very general overview, but now I will give the floor to my colleagues in the project that probably will explain with more detail some of the aspects of the Federation. Okay. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Daniel. So I will, before leaving the floor to the colleagues, the 2 points that to me are quite striking, so that I will try to identify also in the following presentations are these global catalog local offer that you mentioned, Daniel, which is something on which probably we should think about also at the Castile and EuroCC level. And the second one is the exploitation and sustainability plan, which is something on which, again, probably on our side, more questions than answers, but it's something on which we are called as well to work. So this will be for sure topics on which we could exchange and benefit from this exchange with you guys. So let's move forward, and I will leave the floor to Yunus Bulut from KIT. Yunus will tell us a little bit more on the federated assets skills. So Yunus, please, when you're ready, you can take the floor and share your screen. You see the screen?
I already shared. I think you can see it, right?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay. So yes, this is Yunus from Karlsruhe Institute of Technology from Germany. And I will try to give an overview of what we are doing inside the specific work package of the EU Hubs for Data that is dedicated to training and skills. So yeah, as Daniel mentioned, training and skills is one of the third pillars of the project, along with the services and the data sets. And inside this work package, we try to bring together the training capabilities of our project partners to enhance the skill set of the European SMEs out there, especially considering the data-related skills. And our focus is mostly on trainings that has a relation with data anyhow. So for this purpose, we have gathered the training offerings of our partners and we build up a training catalog. And last year in 2021, we executed our first training offerings. As you can see here, we organized 18 trainings. And in 2022, we are planning to organize much more than that. So as you can see, these trainings are mostly about data, whether it's data analytics, IoT, or any other thing related to data. So so far we are having good demand for our trainings, and we hope to get for our 2022 trainings as well. So our training catalog is available on our website. So if you click on our website, you can see that we have inside the catalog tab, we have the courses. Okay, so you can also browse it if you like. So we have more than 80 courses in our catalog, and we are also working on to expand this and extend this with new courses, with joint courses, etc. And yeah, people can search for specific courses and get in touch with the respective DIH to take one of our courses. So you can see the courses of our project participants, and we are also getting new DIHs into Federation. So this will likely to enrich more in the near future. So yes, as I said, you can also see our course catalog on our website. So as I try to highlight, our main focus is on data. So whether it's about the technical things about data, like data analytics, data science, machine learning, or whatever, or whether it is about things like ethics, data governance, data security, GDPR, the upcoming AI regulations, we try to cover and provide a holistic training catalog so that, an interested person can search our catalog and find a suitable course related to any of our focuses. So right now we are mostly hosting technical courses in our catalog, but we also have courses on data management, security, etc. One thing that we want to work on more is that we would like to create a synergy between our partners and create some joint courses, both during the project phase and after the project finished and the federation established. So for this purpose, for example, we first organize a joint course, for example, between KIT and CEDAR, KIT from Germany and CEDAR from Spain, a course on the AI regulations and how to prepare for that. But in 2022, we are also thinking about organizing training events that is fully dedicated to trainings, which will cover, as I said, many topics related to data. So it can be a couple of days long event, probably in the autumn of this year. And with creating such joint courses, that the courses that are developed and held by more than one partners, we want to create a synergy inside the European ecosystem of trainings and create more value of that, both for our partners and both for the society here in Europe. So another thing, apart from bringing together the courses and implementing them, we also have a mobility program. What we mean by mobility program is that, so we have experts and some of our partners in the project have some specific strength in a specific fields, but some others may lack that ability or the capability. So what we want to put in place is that the beneficiaries of the project partners can get benefit from the experts of the other participants. So they can request, for example, instructors for specific courses or experts for some specific data experiments or even a speaker for a workshop. We are trying to mobilize these experts inside ourselves to share the cumulative expertise of the Federation, EU Hubs for Data Federation. And actually, last week or the week before that, I don't remember exactly, but we had a call with Martina from Castile on how we can cooperate between EuroCC and EU Hubs for Data from the training and skills perspective. So we had a we had a really fun call, and we identified, how we can cooperate together. And in the upcoming weeks, probably we will initiate some more serious stuff on how we can, create a synergy between our projects. So one thing that we have in our minds is that we will share, for example, our course catalog in your platforms, and we can also try to arrange some experts for the organizations or the events you try to make this year or next year, whatever. So in that sense, we will try to cooperate both in terms of the catalog sharing and the augmenting our demand and supply side, but also we will put in place a mobility program probably between our projects. So last thing that I want to mention is that we are also developing a learning management system platform. So it will be a one-stop shop for all of our courses in the future, which will be maintained by the Federation. So it will be a strong platform to get, any kind of training, as I said, related to data. So we are working on to build up our production environment, and we will launch it soon as well. So this is our LMS platform. So thank you. This is a quick overview of what we are doing in terms of training in the UHubs for data project. So if you want to get in contact with us, you can just write me an email or Giorgio an email. So we would like to start a conversation. So thank you.
Thank you a lot, Yunus, and I'm really happy that you already started this cooperation with Martina Blaskova from the Castile project, so that concerning training, we will see already some synergies between the two projects. So happy to hear this. Thank you very much. And then we come to our final presentation today, as we say, last but not least. I'll ask Guillermo Amat and Andrea Manzi, Guillermo Amat from ITI and Andrea Manzi from EGI, to take the floor and tell us about the technical aspects of the Federation. So when you're ready, you can start. And then we will get to the closing part of our session today.
Okay, thank you, Luisa. Andrea will take the floor first. So Andrea, please go ahead.
Yes. I'm sharing my screen. Okay, good morning. I'm Andrea Manzi from the IDSA Foundation. And so first, I'm going to describe a little bit the federated assets that's regarding datasets and services. Basically, the idea is to first describe this, and then Guillermo will continue the discussion with the details on the technical aspects. So basically, as Yunus described, so we have the main outcome. So first of all, I will describe the Federated Catalog for services and datasets, the first version and improvements, and some more details about it. And then we I've described a bit the activity that we are doing in order to expand the offer of the catalog. So describe a little bit what will be the the new DHs that are joining the project and community building activities, and of course the other calls and experiments which contributes also to expanding the offer. And then a little bit also about the data privacy and protection details. Basically, since we have in the previous section you have described a little bit the project described the data privacy and protection activities. We'll also see what we are doing in the project, in particular for the in terms of data privacy and protection for the data providers. so as also displayed by Daniel, we have the idea in the project is to build this federated catalog for service and datasets. In this case, because I'm focusing these two, but of course, as I've seen before, we're also doing the federated catalog for courses, and so that the IHs will of course publish they'll offer at the European level, and then will also be able to instantiate the services datasets from other DIHs at local level in order to support SME or startups in their region. We started like immediately in the project, so we have two work packages that are dedicated to the service catalog and the dataset catalog, because basically really after 3 months of the project there was already we're gonna have a first open call for SMEs, so we had to build a first version of the catalog basically after 3 months. And what we did is basically we created a initial definition of the entries for both the services and the datasets. So working on the templates and the categorization, identify also the offer from the different TH participating in the project, and also bringing their high value datasets that are coming from the European repositories. After the first open call, of course, we received the feedback from the applicants, and during the 2021 we started, of course, 2021 we started improving the catalog. This is happened together with other activities that started in parallel, which will be described by Guillermo after my talk. So the framework for catalog synchronization, and then of course activity regarding data sharing and interoperability. So in the case of the catalog that you have seen now in the website, so we work mainly in the case of datasets, improving the license target information, providing categorization according to data privacy and protection, using, for instance, control vocabulary for domains, so 100% they want for the European data portal, and that goes to disclaimer for datasets provided by third parties. And for concerned services, we improved the categorization, introduced granularity and description, success stories for different services, and also improved the H security information, which I use then by applicants in order to select the services. So for some details, at the moment we have like 160 services on the catalog. So they are like grouped by first level, tier 1, let's say, of so business development, ecosystem building, data, AI and technology, infrastructure access, and technology consultancy and training. And so it's not only like technology services, but also business development, training and consultancy. And regarding data, AI and technology, infrastructure access, we have like half of the services in this area. And we also include in this area also private and proprietary datasets, which are selected for open calls and are consumed by data-driven services during the experiment. And for the datasets which are not like private or proprietary, we have like 150 data sources, about 90 single datasets and 60 repositories. For the expansion of the offering, so as I said, we have already onboarded like 90 IHs during 2021, and new 90 IHs will join in 2022. And this during 2021, the first set of the IHs provide services and private property datasets that will be used during the second open call. And also the new DIHs joining in 2022, together with the previous one, will also publish open data in the catalog in order to reach the offer. And then of course we have the dedicated work package in the project, work package 2 for community building. And we have also as today the workshop has been organized, but we also had the other events, like recently we had an event with ICT 13 data platform project in order to understand their offering, and if we could include their data sets or services in our catalog. And of course, most important are also the open calls and experiments. So as I said before, we have like a first open call and also a second project open call, which is running now. And this is me using the catalog in order to select the services and the datasets. And there will be another open call like during before the end of the project. And then one of the other requirements is that the SMEs which are selecting the services will have to use services from at least 2 VIHs in order to, of course, implement, if possible, the data sharing interoperability. In order to extend the catalog with the SMEs, we have like 2 ways of doing it. So basically, the SMEs either they produce data sets during the execution of experiments that might be integrated in the catalog. For instance, the first open call, we had around 20 data sets available for publication and sharing. Or we suggest them to bring data sets that would be needed in order to execute the experiments, which are not yet available in our catalog. And of course, during the execution of the experiments, they will publish those data sets in our catalog. For one concerned data for example section, as before, we had a specific task which is dealing with this. Mainly, they're providing guidelines for data management for using the VIH and the project participants. So far, the guidelines have been mainly on categorization of datasets from the privacy personal data protection perspective, the definition of the roles of the project participant and the GDPR, and the protection of personal data and the GDPR, and then giving, of course, guidelines for the processing of personal data. And the first version of the guidelines was released in February, and then a second version has been updated in 2021. And together with the guidelines, we have also a checklist, which is intended to provide the members of the Federation with details on and recap of the privacy data aspect that should be taken into account. As I said before, this is mainly for data providers, when including your data sets in the catalog, and there will be also an extension of the guidelines in order to cover recommendation for experiments participants. Okay, thank you. This was about the datasets and service federation. I think now there are no question. Guillermo will continue the presentation.
Thank you, Andrea. If there are no questions, I will continue with my presentation in this case. So I'm sharing my screen now. So first of all, thank you for having me here. I'm Guillermo Amat. I work for ITI, and I'm also the technical manager of the UHAS for Data project. I want to explain the implementation of the federation that we are trying to implement in this project. I'm going to give a small introduction first of the idea of this federation. Maybe I'm going to repeat some concepts already told by my colleagues, but then I will enter into technical details, but not going at a low level. So the idea of this federation the idea of the project of UHAS for Data is to build a federation of digital innovation hubs. As we say, currently we are 21 hubs, and before summer we will be adding more digital innovation hubs to this group. So we will be 30. And as you can imagine, before the project, each one of these hubs had already their own list or their own catalog of services, datasets, and courses, which are the main assets that we are managing at this project, as you saw in the previous presentations. So when we started the project, the first logical step was to offer these services as a single entity, as the UHAS for Data project. So let's say something like branding, okay? So now we are, at the beginning of the project, we were offering the global catalog, and this concept recounts the global catalog for a local perspective, because mainly because the assets that we are offering in the project the federation are common, but the idea is to give local support for the entities, for the small companies, small and medium companies of the local ecosystem of each hub. The next step and the final one for building a real federation of hubs is to reach technological interoperability between the IHs. This means to offer all the assets in a real federated way, as I will explain later in terms of interoperability, what does it means this. So we currently, as you can imagine, we are in the middle of this transformation. The project is also in the midterm, but we are somehow in the middle of this transformation, which is what is between what is the common catalog, the common branding for the assets, and the real interoperability. We are starting to have results in this technological interoperability. Okay, now let's go with the technical details, and we will see how we are building this federation. So the construction of this model is based mainly on three technological aspects or technological developments. One is the federated catalog, which is to provide the assets that we were speaking before, the courses, the services, the data sets. To build this catalog, a grouping the assets of all the members, but giving some sense, I will explain later in the next slide. The second pillar is the interoperability. Here we are using the IDSA reference architecture model. And the third one is a custom development that is called the service delivery framework. Okay, you already saw the federated catalog in previous presentations. Currently, we are in the second version of this catalog. We did the first effort, the first version of this catalog for the first open call of experiments. And then we had several meetings to improve how the information is presented to the final end user, which are the companies or the SMEs. And as a result of that, we did an iteration of the layout and the structure of the catalog. And now we are, it was deployed, it was ready for at the same time that the second open call of experiments, just to improve this catalog to make things more or easier for the companies when applying to the second open call. There are more features planned for this catalog, but these features are related to the third component that I was mentioning before, the service delivery framework, and this will allow to have a real federated catalog, meaning that we will have, let's say, a main catalog showing all the assets of all the members, but at the same time, each hub will have the opportunity to present a reduced version of the catalog, selecting the assets that they are more interesting to offer. Regarding interoperability, what we are using, as I said, is the International Data Spaces Association reference architecture model. And using that, we want to create a trusted data exchange environment, including all the members of the federation. The reference architecture model presents a lot of components, and some of them are, let's say, mandatory, and some optional. What we are deploying right now are connectors, of course, because they are needed for each hub. Each hub should have at least one connector to communicate with others. A broker component and adapts for managing the identities of the members of this environment. This is the diagram that is in the reference architecture model document, and this is somehow what we are implementing. Okay, what we are deploying. And basically we have connectors, we have a broker, and we have that, and maybe there are some other components that we are not using, but the main components here are the connectors. We are using the version 6 of the data space connector, which is probably one of the most mature connectors that follows the specification of the reference architecture model. And the first objective that we were trying to cover with this architecture was to provide access to datasets using these connectors, meaning that from one hub you can retrieve a dataset that is hosted by another using this model, these connectors. Okay. Currently, we achieved this objective at the beginning of this year, and now we are focused on the achievement, or we want to test the usage control that are provided also by the connectors that we are using. So, as I said, we achieved this first objective, and now we are able to share datasets using different connectors, one from the consumer side and the other from as a provider of this dataset. The last component that was in the list was the service delivery framework, and this is the development that is in the project, and that tries to share the metadata of the assets between the partners in order to distribute this metadata and allow the members to share the services, to share the assets in general, using a federated model. As you can see here in the main features that are listed, we want to give the features or allow what is shown in a local hub, what a local hub wants to propagate to the rest of the members, and also there are additional aspects that are related to the validation of assets in terms of accepting the legal aspects or checking the legal aspects and the ethical aspects involved for that datasets using a control flow and giving the decision to ethical or legal experts. So in terms of aspects more related to I think it's the purpose of this session. I want to go or to explain a little bit more about the experiments or the action we did related to the exploitation of these services. In the first case, in the experiments, we have all the members offering, all the hubs that belong to the project offering services, not only technological services, but also giving support for the services selected for the companies, but also offering consultancy about even about business exploitation and things like that. But in terms of this session, we have all the experiments using computational services and datasets from different hubs of the operation. So this model I was putting as an example, and it allows to provide a dataset from a hub, send it to another member, to another hub, using this interoperability technology, and use this dataset in the other hub for computation and obtaining some results from a dataset that was originally hosted by another member. Of course, we have some lessons learned after the first round of the experiments. We are quite happy with the results that we have achieved, because indeed the SMEs are happy with the services that they have used and the support that they have received from us. And the level of collaboration between the hubs and the SMEs were pretty good. Also, we found something some issues to solve and some aspects to improve. At the beginning of the project, it was very difficult to learn or to use the model itself that was proposed by the reference architecture model. We found also that the connectors especially were somehow immature, and we have to upgrade these components to achieve some results, because also we found some incompatibility, backwards incompatibility between the components, and finally we have to upgrade to the version 6, as I said. But now even we have some decisions to make in terms of staying with the data space connector or migrating to the Eclipse data space connector. Probably we will stay with the data space connector because of the maturity aspect that I was commenting. Also, there's another effort to include more DIHs. In the process, we have added new DIHs, and other 9 DIHs will be joining us in April. And what we are offering them is at least to take part of this shared catalog, but also inviting them to adopt the implementations and to deploy connectors to achieve this level of interoperability using the same technologies that we are using. So any hub or any entity interested in joining us or to provide services to our project and our federation should consider if they want only to list these services in our catalog, or also they want to take part of this implementation of this interoperability model and adopt the same components that we are using to achieve this. And I think that's all from my side. Yeah, I hope that it was a clear explanation. Sorry because the time maybe it's not allowing us to explain better so many aspects, but that was all from my side.
Thanks a lot, Guillermo, and thank you to all our speakers. I guess that we can leave some minutes for eventual questions, also in the chat if you prefer to write. If there's no further question, I would then just pass to the conclusions. Of course, let me first of all thank you guys, all the speakers, all the attendees, but especially Ana Garcia Sanchez and Daniel Alonso and Mattia Trino for supporting in the organization of this workshop. Without them, it would not have been possible to have such interesting speeches today. We've seen many valuable results of projects that have already been concluded, and we received many inputs and inspiration concerning what's already going on in UApps for data that could be relevant to extend and to make synergies with for EuroCC and Castile players. So thanks a lot again to all of you. And I would ask Mattia to stop the recording. Anna, please, if you want to say a few words.
Well, I just, I think you already closed, but I want to thank you and also your team. And I mean, everybody that, as you said, has been behind the organization of this event and the overall UApps for Data Consortium. Many people have been discussing and contributing to this event today. So as I said at the very beginning, I think this is the beginning of a long-term collaboration, and I hope soon we have also a joint paper together describing, you know, how this collaboration can be taken forward and how we can really learn from each other. But I guess Daniel Alonso would like to also say a few closing words.
Daniel, please.
Thanks a lot, Anna and Luisa. No, just to emphasize what you already said, and what Anna mentioned, for us is just a first step. We are, I think both EuroCC and UApps for Data, we are at our mid-term of our project. So I think it's a very good opportunity to foster this collaboration. I think we are at the right time to start working on that. As my colleagues already explained, we are still facing some challenges, but we did a long, well, not a long run, but at least some run already. So I think we are ready, and the timing is perfect. So just to emphasize this collaboration, I'm really happy to excited to have been participating in this event. Thanks a lot, Lucia.
Thank you, guys. And yes, well, that's the first step, and then we'll meet again soon, and you know, grow this collaboration together. So thanks a lot again. Matthew, you can please stop the recording, and yeah, for the ones that are invited in the restricted meeting, you can stay there, and we'll start the call with the others participants.